everyone, real quick. Does anyone know who's currently undefeated in the preseason? Any preseason teams? Any ideas about which teams are undefeated in the preseason? That's right. It's the Atlanta Hawks. Ka-ka! A sign of things to come.
I thought you were going to say the Celtics, but I think they did. They might have lost a game.
They did lose a game. Yeah.
Well, no, the Hawks. Quinn Snyder's got them shaped up, looking real nice so far. To
be fair though, the Washington Wizards are the plus 34 in their 2 wins. So
okay. Well, maybe preseason doesn't tell us everything.
Yep.
Telling about the return of John Davis, the comeback of a millennium.
Johnny Davis,
Johnny Davis, most improved this year. He's going to be the first. He's going to be the only person to ever deserve most improved in the second NBA season.
Spoilers, dude.
Yeah, come on, you can't tip their hand that early.
Johnny Davis, comeback player of the year and also most improved player of the year. Come back from the capital city go-go. Jesus Christ. What a way to start.
Losing your go-go gig to 39-year-old Jarrett Jack.
He's still fighting it down there, folks. The capital city go-go did lose a key contributor to last year. Isaiah Todd, who shot like 38% in the G League, and then when he was included in the Bradley Beal trade, I saw multiple people being like, I can't believe they got Isaiah Todd too. And then the Suns like immediately waived him. Yeah, no, he's not good at all. You don't have to worry about that. So, yeah. All right, look, we got 40 people in here, so let's get going straight into the podcast. We're going to do our NBA awards predictions for this episode. But before we get into that, let's pull up our sponsors from Underdog Fantasy. Monday Night Football's on tonight. We got the Cowboys and the Chargers. Are we feeling any big picks here for a higher or lower on anyone's touchdowns or receptions or what?
Do they have a higher or lower on the team that's leading with 2 minutes to go, losing the game? Because
the Chargers.
Is it possible for both of these teams to lose? That would be great for my narratives. I've been working so hard for the last year against both of these teams.
But onto this, I'm kind of feeling the Chargers defense has been fucking ass, and the Cowboys offense has been under heat all week. So I'm thinking because they laid a doo-doo bomb against the 49ers last week, I'm thinking higher on Dak's touchdowns, 1.5. I think he'll probably get about two passing touchdowns. And then for Justin Herbert, I'm going to go with, I think they're going to be trailing for most of the game, so he will be passing a ton. So I'm going to go higher on his passing attempts, which is 36.5. And I'm going to if I throw $25 on that, you can win $75 on Underdog. Use the promo code SLOP, that's SLOP, to get a $100 deposit match. Supports the program. Right now, they were running, don't quote me on this, but they were running a $500 deposit match. So you might still be eligible for that as well. So check out Underdog if you have not already. Sign up today. All right, let's get into this. We're gonna talk about our predictions for this upcoming season in the NBA for awards. Now, last year we had Parm on. Parm, if I remember correctly, I think you kind of crushed it last year on a few of these. I know that you called Joel MVP.
I love the narratives.
Yeah.
Listen. All the viewers in the audience know you don't bring me on because I have factual takes. I just love narratives.
True.
I love narratives so much.
Yeah, we've called you the Peter Schrager of the NBA.
Well, and narratives are what win NBA awards. This is how I was also able to guess Joel Embiid for MVP last year.
Sam, you also got that. You guys both got Joel for MVP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had. So this is narratives. You've got to think like one of the most evil creatures on the planet, a sports writer. So that is the only way that we can make this. So we are going to be sort of, becoming sort of Agent Smith, if you will.
It's also gotten easier and easier to predict the narratives, thanks to the GOAT Gilbert Arenas presenting the Hoopers side that we never got before.
Yeah.
The true Hooper-pilled side of the MVP debate.
Yeah, he is the silent majority.
We have checks and balances available.
I've always said that Gil sort of reminds me of the legislative body. In many ways,
him and Rashad McCann's the bicameral system.
Yeah, well, but because of the rude thing that he's done to single parents when he went into Nick Young's house that time and was just screaming at him about Iggy leaving him. So that is, Gil sort of represents family court in that way.
Exactly. Yeah. Gil is very much a family first kind of guy. I don't know if you watched the most recent take on his show. Parm, you'd probably agree with this take. Kenyon Martin was on there freaking out because Russell Westbrook wasn't included in the top 100 on I'm sorry, he was barely included in the top 100 on ESPN's list. So any thoughts on Kenyon Martin fighting back?
I respect it. Somebody has to stand up for these fucking guys. Somebody does. They don't pay truly, they really it. It is the craziest thing of the last 5 years. I've been thinking about it a lot the last 3 weeks. 5 years ago, it feels like 70% of the NBA's guards are gone.
Yeah.
They're just gone, or they make no money. And it's some of them can still play a little bit.
Well, I mean, Russ probably doesn't get paid enough for the amount of shit that he takes.
Yeah.
He was on the Supermax before, but now he's making $4 million a year, and he's going to, with California taxes on top of that. And he at least doesn't have to deal with the Lakers fan base, but the pushback in the media, including from me, to be honest, I'm completely guilty. I wonder who did that. I wonder who doesn't think Russell Westbrook is a top 100 player. But let's get into the number one award that everyone came here for, the MVP. I'm going to pull up the odds. Now, I want to say this website doesn't pay me at all. It's just a random website that we found last year, and I use it, called Vegas Insider. I will not be showing the names of the companies where these odds are from because they also don't pay me. But if you go on here, you can see the leading candidates for MVP. If you are listening on audio, we will spell out some of these people for you. Let's start with Parm, since you are the guest. Anything really stand out to you here, Parm?
So first off, I think my number one MVP frontrunner right now is currently sitting fourth on that board, and I don't understand why.
Tatum.
Wow.
Not because now, Sam, don't get me wrong. Not because he deserves it. Not because he deserves it. It's because we are a jingoistic people who just got embarrassed in the FIBA World Cup, and it's gonna be an American MVP, and it's not Joel.
Second straight American MVP. Keep that in mind.
It's gonna be a pure American MVP. It's not Joel. Yeah. It's gonna be. It's in my head. It's gonna be. It's Tatum. Ant, maybe it would be a hot take one.
Sure. That's a good. Ant's odds were very long. There was one guy on here that I felt had crazy low odds when you consider everything. And that guy to me was Devin Booker. And I feel like when you consider the fact that the Suns are probably going to be really good, when you consider the fact that his odds across the board right now are, you can get them as low as plus 2,200 on some sites, plus 2,000 on some sites, 1,500 on another. I think that he's clearly going to be their best player this year. They're clearly going to win a lot of games. And Parm, you just talked about narrative, right? You talked about American.
May I perhaps be a little conspiratorial?
Yes.
So I think the same in my head, the same problem that Booker faces is the same one SGA faces, where I think their co-star is not maligned enough in the media for them to be able to put themselves out in front in MVP voting.
Wow, that's actually true.
Everyone fucking hates Jaylen Brown. No one only real ball knowers are going to put JB over Tatum. You know what I mean? The media is not. They're not going to give him any run because he can't dribble.
Yeah.
Whereas SGA, people are falling over themselves to give Chet an award.
Sure.
Yeah. Booker. I mean, it's Kevin Durant.
They love Giddey.
Someone put Kevin Durant in the NBA top 10 players a week ago. I'm floored.
Yeah, I mean, Durant is on here and has better odds than Devin Booker to win MVP.
That's crazy.
That makes no
crazy.
sense at all. Like, even if you think that Kevin Durant is a better player in 2023 than Devin Booker, he only plays like 45 games a year. Like I know that Booker's also had his injuries recently, but they feel like more like one-offs as opposed to like this guy gets injured a lot and he's also getting much older.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel I agree with Parm in that Tatum has a co-star that's a bit more maligned, whereas Devin Booker might not, but also Booker fits the American narrative, and he also fits the guy that stayed with his team narrative. He's on his third contract, I believe, or he already signed his third contract. He's gotten all the players to come play with him as opposed to forcing a trade. And what do the NBA media love to jerk off to more than anything else? That's right.
The
players. Well, yeah.
That's true. That's true. However, Anthony Edwards might be the best of the bunch with that because he does all three. Still on his same team.
Edwards is still on his rookie contract for one more year. He signed the extension, but he's still on the rookie deal. And to be fair, no one has ever turned down the qualifying offer, really, like of these big stars. Yeah. So there was no way Ant was ever going to leave.
So let me say, because I agree with this, I think that the three things you need to win MVP are you need to be a top 2 to 3 team in your conference. You need to you need to have very good counting stats. You need to be in that top tier of counting stats, scoring, what have you, everything. And you need to fit a narrative. In addition, as we've talked about, your teammates need to be dog shit. I was going to pick Jason Tatum, but the fact that they've got Porzingis and Drew, I think there's too much splitting going on the Celtics. I do think the Celtics are going to be very strong. And I think the same thing for Giannis getting Dame. I think that's going to be I think it's boring, but I think Jokic is probably the best.
He's a lock.
Pick. I think he's the best pick just because the NBA media is so fucking mad that they had to vote for Joel Embiid last year. Like, they want to give this to Jokic so bad. And they're going to have every excuse to do it. This is a guy who's stayed with his team, who's coming off of a title run, didn't win the MVP in his title run, even though an argument could be made that he probably should have won MVP last year. I don't necessarily think that, but you could make that argument. So it's boring, but I think I would probably pick Jokic coming into the year, even though he's the odds-on favorite. I just think that everything else, all these other teams, there's too many other like super teams. The only other one would be like Steph Curry, and I just, if you think the Warriors are going to be good, and I do think the Warriors are going to be good, but I think people are getting kind of bored with that, and I just don't know if he's going to be able to hang with Jokic metrically.
Jokic has the metrics. He's going to have the record. He's going to have the narrative because of what you just said.
Yeah. Do you not think the Jamal Murray narrative is coming back now that they won the NBA Finals? That's my one thing with them is like I really think like the winning the finals thing, they're gonna do that shit where it was like Chris Middleton. Is Chris Middleton as good as Kevin Durant? People are gonna fucking do that shit about like Michael Porter in like 2 months. Yeah. Like mark my words, because he scored like 35 points off exclusively catch and shoot threes from Murray and Jokic.
So, not to tip my hand here or anything, but there's a world where I didn't even have him on my list, but now you bring that up. There's a world where Jamal Murray wins Most Improved Player. And I know that sounds insane because he's older, but his stats in the regular season aren't that good. Like, if he just jumps from 20 points a game to 25 points a game and is clearly the second best player on the best team in the NBA at age, what he's going to be, 26, 27 next year, he could win the Julius Randle mid-career leap most improved player type thing. I mean, he's a better player than Julius Randle, but my point here is that every once in a while you get a guy that falls in that, and we saw it last year. They love to build off of the playoff narratives, like Parm said. With Middleton, they did it a few years ago. Wiggins was a big guy who benefited from it. And now Jamal Murray as the second option on this team. Now, I think that if you're just talking about MVP, I had a few guys who I considered bad bets. Like Jokic is my favorite if you just consider everything that we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Booker, his odds are way too low. I had him second on my list because I think they're going to be the 1 seed or the 2 seed. And then for 3 and 4, I had Giannis and Tatum. I think Giannis will get dinged, and I think Tatum will get dinged for the same reasons that Sam brought up. My stay away guys that I wouldn't on this list when you consider their odds. Joel Embiid could cure childhood poverty in America and not win MVP.
He could score 55 points. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. He will never win the MVP because of last year. He's he has 0 shot. Plus 800, you might as well just throw your fucking money out the window.
Honestly, he fits if he hadn't won last year, he would be almost a lock for me because of the Harden shit, because he's going to be by himself, and because I'm pretty sure the Sixers...
The Russ MVP style.
That's what I'm pretty sure they're going to win 52 games again this year. Like, as bad as everyone thinks the Sixers are going to be, I'm pretty sure they're still going to win 50-something games and be a top 3 seed in the East again.
It's definitely possible, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, I actually don't think that one's, like, insane, but you've probably got to get pretty good odds. I don't know if the odds are high enough.
No, plus 800 for a guy who has everything kind of stacked against him from a narrative perspective.
Well, that's the thing. It's just that the all the media people just don't like Joel because he makes fun of them and goes after them for the voting stuff, and then he like loses in the playoffs. So he's just like a custom-made anti-media guy. Yeah. And then he won last year. So I don't think you're right. They're not going to be chomping at the bit to give Joel a back-to-back MVPs. Yeah. So
I also thought Durant's odds were way too high for a guy that misses as many games as him. Yeah. For a guy who is still legitimately an MVP talent, but just you can't. He's too old. He doesn't play enough games. And then the one I actually thought was a complete stay away from me,
Anthony Davis.
Okay, hold on. Hear me out on Anthony Davis. Hold on. Hear me out.
No.
Hear me out. I didn't have him on my list. But I did have him on the long shot list of guys.
Okay.
And here's why. AD is someone who he will get more credit for playing 65 games than anyone else on this list, except for Zion Williamson, who I think is a complete stay away at even at plus 5,000. I wouldn't take those odds. He hasn't played more than 30 games in his career. He's only played more than 30 games in his career one time. Zion. Anthony Davis, if he plays 65 games this year, will be like, wow, AD finally played a full season, as opposed to like he missed 17 games. They'll look at, wow, he played 65 games. If the Lakers are really good, which there is a chance they're really good, and Anthony Davis is clearly the best player on that team, he will at least get some buzz. I don't think he's good enough to win the MVP, but I think that if the Lakers are like on the strength of their defense and him having kind of a resurgent shooting year, I think he's got an outside shot. Having said that, I still think it's a massive.
I'm gonna put this official down. You can save this one for later. At the end of this season, Anthony Davis and Portland Trailblazers forward Toumani Camara will have the same number of MVP votes. I guarantee that. I fucking guarantee that.
I want to live in a world where Parm is right about this, but
Toumani Camara gets 2 votes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's 2 votes.
I was going to say I don't think that Mike Schmitz has quite as much sway in the media as Rob Pelinka having his own literal you're telling me that you couldn't see in January Brian Windhorst having Ramona Shelburne on the Hoop Collective to talk about Anthony Davis's MVP push?
Oh yeah, no.
He has an apparatus behind him.
That's the thing. Yeah, if the Lakers are a top 4 seed, he's probably just going to get votes just because. Like that's just how this works. These would normally go to LeBron, but like LeBron's going to play like 40 games this year, so like they have to give it to someone else. So. And you can't give it to like Rui.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
you're out on the Zion one though.
So here's why I'm out on Zion. It's strictly. I think I've said time and time again, Zion, when healthy, is a top 10 player in the league. Like I would say top 10, at worst top 12.
Yep.
He's just never healthy. It really blew my mind when I read that stat from that Pelicans reporter a week ago that said he's never played more than 30 games, or he's only played more than 30 games in a season one time. He missed an entire season. He played 29 last year.
That's my problem, though. We're fans of a team with a very fat, very injured MVP.
True.
Who's so good at basketball.
But how many years did it take for him to get to that level? It's very rare for guys to come out of nowhere and make that and win MVP. Like, it's usually years of building up to, like, Tatum was years of building up to it. Embiid, years of building up to it. Not that Tatum won, but will probably have his hat in the ring now. Booker made it to the finals. Like, I think that Zion needs 1 year where he's just like, okay, he's healthy and we can trust that he can play 55 games, and then maybe his MVP will come later. I still think he's an MVP talent.
Yeah.
I just think that tops out at like making first team all NBA when you like haven't been there.
Yeah.
Like just the way that these narratives go, you need to be like in the playoffs, you need to be a known quantity to like get like serious MVP buzz. You know what I'm saying? Like
Jokic won, but they were when the year before when Murray was healthy before the bubble, they were the 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they almost made the conference finals, and then they made the conference finals in the bubble before he won. Yeah. So all these guys have had a certain amount of clout. They've been like the best guy on a playoff team before they won MVP. The last time that someone really came out of nowhere and made that leap was probably Derrick Rose. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, my judgment might be clouded by the fact that I played the Mega Millions 3 times last week. You know, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the dub.
The odds of Zion playing 65 games, Parm, same odds to win $4 billion.
Listen, I promise everyone here, if I won $4 billion, James Harden would be getting that Supermax. I guarantee it. I'd be paying him.
You would be paying Josh Harris to fire Daryl Morey and let you become GM.
Put Elton behind the wheel again. I want more big boys. We don't have enough centers.
Do we want to talk about Luka? Because he's the only one I think we didn't talk about that I think has a realistic shot.
I think he's good. I think that team stinks.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
But that's the thing is like if they do end up 3 or 4 in the West, which is possible, you can be pretty bad and still be a 3 or 4 seed in the West because everyone's going to be in the fucking middle. Like, it's not like you're going to need 48 wins to be a 3 seed this year. I think there's going to be
other than the Jokic year where he wins his Jokic Russ MVP where he carries them to a top 5 seed and Kyrie misses like 30 games or whatever. Yeah, and that there is a formula for sure.
Yeah,
and he's if you want to talk about someone who's been around for a few years, this is the first year. For the first time in like 4 years, this is the first time he wasn't the odds-on favorite to win MVP.
Well, and I just think that I think his team is so uniquely bad that it's going to work for him.
Yeah.
In that everyone's going to be like, look at this dog shit he's playing with. Like,
like
Omax is out there, like, and Grant Williams. What is going on?
Yeah, he has like 07 Cavaliers LeBron roster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ball is Strife in the comments said Zion could win MVP, but he will need to at least play 3 consecutive seasons of 60 games first.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's standing against him. He's fat shamed in the media thanks to Pat Riley's media influence. He is also other than Kawhi, Zion is the number 1 guy on the poster for load management and everyone hating load management in the media, even though it's like, I don't know, it does appear as though he's just a very large man who gets hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm. Can I give my dark horse?
I have a really good dark horse that I've been cooking up, but yes, I want to see if you pick the same one.
I think it's kind of crazy that we're seeing Jalen Brunson's name before we see Jimmy Butler's.
I have Jimmy Butler as my number 1 dark horse at plus 7,500.
Fascinating.
I
don't think he's going to do that in the regular, but like that's the thing. Mr. Sleepy until like it's March.
Right. That's the thing. But the thing is, like, they're so bad this year that he's going to like. Jimmy's thing is until needed, right? Like, I'm going to mail it in until needed. They might need him to be like good all year this year.
We'll see. Did you see who Spo just picked up last week?
No, who did Spo pick up last week?
The god RJ Hampton himself.
Let's go.
Yeah, right.
The greatest New Zealand breaker of all time.
I can't. The thing is, if RJ Hampton were to sign with like the Jazz,
he did, and I was out. I was out when he did.
That's
last
what I'm saying.
year.
I'm saying if he signed with the Bulls, I would be like, who cares? But I can't even make jokes about it because we know that it's going to be Game 7 in the second round, and RJ Hampton is going to come off the bench and have like 15 points and turn Jaylen Brown over 5 times, and in a win for the Heat somehow. In this, we can't even joke about it. It's like Deion Kane. Who is this man? Mm-hmm. He scored 20 points in a preseason game the other night. I've never heard of him before.
I can't even lie. I've been doing a dynasty fantasy draft. I thought about fucking Nikola Jovic with like my 8th pick. I was like sitting there watching tape. Like, is Spo gonna give him minutes? Is he the guy?
You're watching. He's watching fucking. Who does he even? He plays for Serbia, right? In
Jovic. Yeah. I was literally watching him play the FIBA game in Serbia, like the shortened highlights, and I'm like, Spo is watching this. He's paying attention. He's taking notes.
I can see if in an underwhelming field, if the Heat end up like a 4 or a 3 seed, and Jimmy is just like lights out. Everyone like the media, whatever the media thinks of Joel Embiid, they think the exact opposite of Jimmy Butler. They want any excuse to give Jimmy Butler his flowers.
He's coming off the finals run, and I do just want to say, I totally agree with you. And even though he's somehow dodged all the smoke with the load management stuff, he plays 65, 70 games this year. Every other candidate's probably going to play around the same amount of games this upcoming season. He has the media on his side. He has the narrative on his side. He is good enough to win it. He just has to care enough about putting up 25 points instead of 22 points. That's basically like if he puts up 27 a game, I could see his name in the conversation. I don't think he cares enough because, as we've said time and time again, they kind of just phoned it in during the regular season. They know they can beat anyone in the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. But at plus 7,500, those odds are insanely good. You want to know what my other dark horse in this conversation was? By the way, Deion Kane was a former Eagles wide receiver who was on our practice squad. So I apologize to Jamal Kane. But dark horses that I like, very long shots. Parm already brought up Anthony Edwards, so I'll avoid that one. I had him on my list, and I already talked about Anthony Davis. Plus 4,000 for De'Aaron Fox.
I love
plus 5,000 for De'Aaron Fox. Like,
I just don't think
they're good again.
It just feels like they will never hand it to Sacramento.
Yeah,
well, and just how much better is De'Aaron Fox going to be than he was last year? Like, he was like literally the most clutch guy. Last year.
It almost feels like an Embiid thing, where it's like, what does he have to do?
It feels like and once again, the reason why I like this is because the odds are crazy low. But if they have the number 1 offense in the NBA, and he's by far their best offensive player, and he's showing, like, let's say he just shoots 38% from 3 for 1 season. Where are the flaws in his offensive game if he shoots 35% or 38% from 3 for 1 season, just for 1 year? Like, he's one of the best finishers in the NBA. He's an elite mid-range shooter, crazy athlete, good playmaker. Not an elite playmaker, but a good enough playmaker to be in this conversation. Like, Donovan Mitchell was in the conversation last year, and it's not it's not insane to think that De'Aaron Fox could also be in that kind of tier of player. And
like Sabonis is too liked, though. I feel like the Sabonis stocks went up last year, and they need to be on the downswing for him to be getting the narrative juice.
But do you think that him going doo-doo mode in the playoffs and
that might be helpful?
Fox was electric until he got hurt in the playoffs. That's in his better. The other thing that hurts Fox's MVP case is that the Kings' offense is very collective. Feels like any given night, Kevin Huerter will have 45 points, and then this Sasha guy who they just got from the EuroLeague will come up.
My goat, Sasha Vezenkov.
There we go. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. I knew you would know how to.
He's the first Bulgarian NBA player, according to my sources.
Who, you have Bulgarian sources?
I don't know. I looked up. I looked up like to see if there were any other players from Bulgaria. I didn't find any. But I also want to be mindful that like when it comes to like NBA players from like 1953. Like, sometimes those dudes are, like, born at sea. You know?
It just says international waters on their Wikipedia page.
Yeah, the IW World Cup team is going to kind of go crazy, though. Watch out.
All right. Any other MVP thoughts before we move on to most improved player?
Oh, I can't believe we didn't talk about Jaylen Brown in this spot.
If you want to light your money on fire, Damian Lillard plus 3,600, another good guy. He's on Giannis's team now. There's no way that if the Bucks are really good that. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we'll go to the most improved player for this upcoming season, and we have Mikal Bridges is the leader right now. He's the favorite because of his little mini leap that he had last year during the season. Obviously, in a different for most improved player, I usually look at who's a guy that's either in a different context. Like he either got traded to a new team or like Lauri Markkanen won last year in his first year in the Jazz, or who's a guy that's going to benefit a ton from someone leaving their team. So like, that's why Tyrese Maxey's in second place on these odds. So is there anyone that stands out to you here, Parm? I have one guy I think should be even higher on this list.
I have one that I saw that I was absolutely floored that he was so low to the point where like I don't gamble on sports and I'm thinking about putting money on it.
Okay, who was it?
I don't understand how you can watch Franz Wagner have the performance he had in the FIBA World Cup and he's not top 5. I don't even like watching the guy. I think he's like a little berries and cream merchant.
I'm scrolling down the page and I don't know. Oh my
shit out of me, and he's like so low. He's like the favorite. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's plus 2,500, plus 1,600, plus 2,200.
And I think nobody watches the Magic. So like, all he has to do is put up a good stat line.
He's below James Wiseman. Okay, James Wiseman's odds are crazy. It's just sorted weird for some reason. But and honestly, if you want to piggyback off last year's most improved player, Lauri Markkanen killed it at Eurobasket, came back and was absolutely awesome for the Jazz, and then won. The statistical leap that Franz would have to take, and this is the thing we always talk about with Franz, where he has role player brain, because he doesn't like to take a ton of shots. He needs to take more shots, and he needs to average like 24 a game, I think, to take a 6-point scoring leap this upcoming season. And the Magic we know are going to be better, but how much better are they is the question.
Well, my thing about Franz, I mean, those odds are crazy. You should, I mean, I don't advocate sports gambling, but you know, hey, the thing about that is if the Magic have a big season, because normally you've got to have a little bit of something going on to kind of get into these things. The problem is he's got Paolo right there too, who also might be poised for taking like a little bit of a mini leap.
Sure.
And those two could kind of cannibalize each other as two young guys who are kind of in a similar context, you know, like, and I also wonder, like, Orlando doesn't have the media mafia juice to like do this. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, if you look at Cade Cunningham, there are so many draft Twitter people whose like reputations are like riding or dying on him, like showing anything this year.
Yes.
I can tell you right now who NBA media wants to give it to, and it's Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
Like he could have an underwhelming season and still win.
How much sway does Jonathan Gavoni have is the question here.
Yes.
I think you guys are a little negative a little down on the Magic.
No, I
think my thing with them is like, I think like you're right. Like they don't have the media mafia thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think that's that's my problem that I have is like, I watched every single time the Sixers played the Magic last year. Every single game. They might be my least favorite team in the NBA. I fucking despise every member of the Orlando Magic. They try so fucking hard. They're such tryhards.
Except for Jonathan Isaac.
They put insane amounts of effort. Like, it would not shock me if they were, like, a stunningly high seed, like, out of nowhere.
It's going to be awesome when the Magic lose the fucking play-in this year, and Parm is just dancing on their grave on Twitter. Like, rest in peace, bozos, pack watch.
They're like, oh my God, they drive me fucking insane. They're like, everything that everyone complains about the Grizzlies is true with the Orlando Magic. Insufferable.
But at least they have a moral ownership group.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
You know, at least their ownership group didn't literally invent Blackwater. Amazing.
I love the education. I'm a big fan of the Betsy DeVos time in the Department of Education.
Yeah, she had a hell of a run. Nothing Linsanity about her run.
No, for real.
But the few names I liked on this list, I actually think the Franz one was a good one. I don't know how I slept on that. That was a great pull by you, Parm. Austin Reeves is definitely going to get a lot of backing in this.
Yep.
Very similar to the AD thing I just talked about. Lakers have been pushing Austin Reeves like crazy. I thought Austin Reeves was good even before people were like hyping him up. I didn't think he was as good as he is. And he's coming off a solid, at least offensively, a very solid FIBA run. And LeBron's going to miss a lot of games, and that's going to open up on-ball opportunities. And if AD misses time, that's going to open up on-ball opportunities. And Reeves could average, what does he have to average? 19 or 20 a game? Because he averaged what?
He needs to be like a 25-5 guy, which I don't think is out of the realm.
So last year he only averaged 13 points a game because he didn't start for the majority of the season because they had Russ.
Yeah.
So he averaged 13 points a game in 28 minutes. I think that only needs to go up to like 19 and just like maybe slight increments on the other counting statistics. And the Lakers just need to be better. Yep. I don't really think people care about playoffs to regular season the next year too, like Will's saying in the comments. Like, I don't think that anyone factors that in. I think that if you made even a leap the season before, it's more like Mikal Bridges did or Austin Reeves did in the playoffs. I actually think it helps you more than it hurts you in the next season. Yeah,
I think Mikal Bridges, you might as well just light your money on fire.
I think those odds for him being number one, that's a bit much for me.
He's not even my number one most improved candidate on the Brooklyn Nets.
Ooh, Nick Claxton?
No. You
Cam Thomas?
All Sixers fans should close their eyes and ears for what I'm about
to
say.
Simmons?
It's the Benazons. We're getting the Benazons 2024.
So I'm not kidding, Parm. I'm looking at my windows open and I literally name search Simmons because I wanted to see what the odds are like because I think it's possible.
Perverted.
I think it's possible. Like if he comes out like gangbusters, if he comes back, like, because there's no comeback player of the year award like that, like this improved player would be the comeback player of the year.
Why isn't there? Yeah,
I don't know. We don't have as many the NBA doesn't have as many issues as the NFL does.
I was gonna say as many near deaths on the field.
What does he need to do? Like, he just needs to do put up his stat line from 2 years ago, which is like really like in the realm of possibility.
I have an idea. Why don't they just invent a comeback player of the year award for Ben Simmons this year and call it the Ben Simmons comeback player of the year? And most people, they're like coming back from major injuries or they're coming back from like a health complication or whatever. Ben Simmons is coming back from his tour of duty on Call of Duty. You can literally just have Ben Simmons took a year off to play video games and now he's back and he's better than ever.
Literally coming back after 2 years of not playing.
Let's go.
So, yeah.
I
know he technically played last year, but come on, did he really?
No, I mean, I honestly forgot he played last year, and he's barely played basketball for 2 years. The problem with Ben, once again, is that in order for him to have most improved, his counting stats were good early in his career. So if there were a comeback award, Ben would definitely be number one on my list. Like, I think that there are very few guys. But I agree with Sam in that I think that the media is going to be pushing for Cade Cunningham. My list of guys, I had Austin Reeves as my number one. And I had Cade as my third choice. I had Maxey too.
Yeah, I was just going to say Maxey would probably be my pick, to be honest.
But we still don't know what's happening with James Harden. Yeah. Like, if Harden was, if I knew Harden was off the team in a month, Maxey's a no-brainer. Kind of throw some money on him because he has to get more shots. They just don't have enough guys that can dribble and shoot. So he would have to. But his counting stats were already pretty good last year. he would have to take he'd probably have to average 25, 26 a game efficiently, and then double his assists and keep the turnovers down. It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. There were a few on here I thought there was no chance, like Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's counting stats were really good. Didn't he average like 22 a game for the Warriors?
Yeah, he feels like is he going to be absolutely fucking awesome? Yeah. Do I think he has a legitimate chance to get like 29 points per game or something fucking absurd? Yes. Do I think the Wizards are winning 12 games? You bet. So like, I don't understand how you're supposed to win an award with that.
Well, who's won the last few most improved awards? It's like Laurie last year, and the Jazz were feisty for most of the season. I remember Randall a few years ago. The Knicks made the playoffs. Who made it who won the year before? Pascal Siakam won one year. It's always guys that are on good teams.
But it's not like Devontae. Yeah, it's not Devontae Graham's 19 points per game with the 2018 Charlotte Hornets. You know?
Yeah, Ingram. Yeah, Ingram was the comments.
It was Ja. The year that the Ja won the year that they made
that was whack. Yeah, because he was a second year or third year player. How young? Third year. Like,
second year guys never win. You might as well just fucking throw your money out if you're putting it on second year guys. For some reason, third year guys can win, fourth year guys can win, but second year guys absolutely not.
It made me laugh, so I want to make sure we get to this. Will said in the comments that Poole's going to win the scoring title with a 53 true shooting percentage.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. 100% chance.
I think that's how I feel too.
The Bradley Beal honorary scoring title he will win.
He might get 30. He might get 30 attempts a game. He might average 30 a game attempts. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. But what? All right, I will say if there is one exception to that rule about a second-year player never winning, Jabari Smith's got to be about as close as you can get, right?
Yeah, I don't.
He was horrendous last year.
He was so bad.
He's been good in the preseason summer league. Like, he's looked awesome.
I just don't think he has the leverage within his team for that to count. You know, like Alperen Şengün has higher odds than him, which is crazy. But you know, like you've got Şengün, you've got Green, you've got Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks have just joined the team. Like, you know, like you've got to go. He's probably the fifth.
Brooks, MIP.
Dylan Brooks, MIP.
Let's go.
The stats are all the same, but his attitude's much better.
Yeah. So I don't know. I because you're right, Trill. Like it would take something like that, but I also still don't even think the context is like worth a bet at this point. I think another one I just want to get out of the way because we didn't address it. I think as far as lighting your money on fire, as far as betting, I don't think there's any chance Scotty Brooks wins this, and he's kind of high up.
Yeah, well, he's a coach, so I don't think Scotty Brooks has any chance.
Oh, Scotty Barnes.
Would be pretty cool though if he just like suited up for the first time. Yeah, I think he was a player in like the 80s. That would be pretty awesome.
Scott Brooks would do miracles on the Raptors right now.
Yes,
has he ever been called Scotty Brooks? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
but I like that you created a new human being in your mind.
Scotty Barnes. I couldn't bring myself to say it. The Raptors embargo is too great.
Why do you think there's no chance though? Isn't part of Masai's legacy having Scotty Barnes have a really good year? Like
he would need to clear out that front court. And in order to clear out that front court, he would need to make a trade. He will not make a trade.
And he would also need to get rid of a player in Pascal Siakam who's better than Scotty Barnes.
Yes. Yeah. He would like to get rid of Pascal. He's not going to. Pascal's just going to leave next offseason, and they're going to act like it was all part of the plan.
Yeah, the entire league will get a message sent once again.
Yes. Oh, God. The Raptors.
I do have some dark horse picks here.
Okay, go ahead.
My dark horse picks. Someone made a joke about Jonathan Kuminga in the comments. I don't think that is that insane. I think Kuminga, his counting stats were not good his first 2 years. He barely played, and he's going to be probably at least, the seventh man on the team with a chance to make it into the starting lineup during some games. He averaged 9.9 points a game last year and has looked good in the preseason. And will be playing with Chris Paul, and it might be, as a Warriors fan said to us recently, a pump and dump situation where they try to build up his value and to either trade him this offseason or next offseason or at the deadline this year.
Do you understand how many Draymond Green gets to teach this year? Garuba, and Trace Jackson Davis are all getting the Draymond mentorship.
Amazing. We've gotten so many Draymonds that they're going international. We've got the Garubas, we got the Kumingas. I love it. I love to hear it. So
I wonder if you've got the one that I've kind of had my eye on here.
All right, who is it? Because I don't think it's anyone that's listed here.
I kind of looked at Rui's odds a little bit. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh yeah, he'll have the
as a long shot.
What were his counting stats last year? Is the problem for me because I feel like Rui always has decent counting stats.
I don't know, but like I think Austin Reeves is too good. You know what I'm saying? Like he was good last year. Like Rui was also like pretty good when he came over, but I think a full year of the Lakers consent manufacturing machine.
Yeah.
Like I could see. I don't think it's likely, but I'm just saying like I just saw what his odds were. They were like not too so it's anywhere between plus 4,000 to plus 10,000 depending on where you look. So I think
if so,
plus 10,000 I think it's worth checking out. I'm just saying.
Hold on, I just found a crazy one. Hold on. Why is LaMelo Ball so low?
Let's go.
Why is Melo that low?
Where is he? Let me see.
Plus 10,000.
That's crazy. Oh wow, he's like not even listed on a bunch of other sports books.
Hold on.
Like I know they're gonna stink, but like,
let's see what his counting
plus 10,000.
I mean, his counting stats were pretty good, but like, if he averages in the high 20s and keeps up his assist numbers, cleans up a little bit of his efficiency inside the arc, and has like a similar shooting season to what he had 2 years ago, it's not.
It's one of the things to me where it's like he just has to put up the LeBron, right? Like 27, 7, and 7. Do like the Julius Randle thing where he got like first team votes.
And the thing is that all of the one thing I will say, has anyone ever made an All-Star game and then won Most Improved Player? Because
did Ja Morant?
I see a lot of people in the comments saying that no, I don't think Ja did in his second. I think it was third year was the first year he made it, and I think Brandon Ingram made it the year that he won Most Improved, but none of them made it before that. Like Giannis didn't make it before that, so that's the one thing I would say is working against LaMelo. But De'Aaron Fox was in the conversation for Most Improved last year for most of the year. And he had similar counting stats to LaMelo. The only problem is LaMelo won Rookie of the Year and All-Star, and then he would have to be like a first team All NBA guy basically.
Yeah,
in order to make
he would have to put up like he would. I think the only way it would work in my head is if he did what SGA did last year.
Yeah,
like let's drag that absolutely stinky fucking crew all the way to like a 6th or 7th seed or something.
Yeah, and I see what Fear the Void saying in the comments about the greatest, most improved robbery of all time was Steph in 2016. Luka also from his first year to his second year. I've said before, I'm more impressed when a guy makes a leap from like top 40 player to top 12 player, and LaMelo would fall in that category of, okay, he made it from like a borderline all-star to an all-NBA guy. I think that leap is harder to make personally than making most of the leaps that these guys make from like top 100 player continuing your trajectory and ending up as like a top 50 player or whoever, the guys who usually win these awards. So I actually don't think the logic is bad behind that.
It's just Vassell one?
The voters won't vote for him. Vassell, yeah,
that I like. I'm kind of that or like Keldon.
I had him on my very long shot list, and the reason why is because I don't think that most people knew who Devin Vassell was until he signed his extension 2 weeks ago. Like, I literally saw people quote tweeting like casuals, and they were like, had no idea who this guy is, and he has 150 million. That's the one thing working against him. But as Flop Era points out, increased attention on Wemby. The thing that he will do really well next year is catch and shoot, I would imagine, working off of Wemby. And he's a really good shooter. People don't really care about defense for this award, so some of his defensive shortcomings might not matter as much. Also, their defense will probably be much better with Wemby there, and it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. His counting stats were pretty good last year, though, for sure. His counting stats were pretty good. But okay, so Kristaps has made an All-Star team. But
he had to have made it when he was in the
He
Knicks,
made one with
right?
the Knicks. Yeah, no, he's definitely made the All-Star team. Yeah, his last year.
Yeah, that was when he took the picture with the Timberlands on when sitting on a Honda Civic. One of my favorite NBA pictures of all time.
So ridiculous. My dark horse picks for this. I talked about Kuminga. We talked about Vassell as like my super long shots. My dark horse pick for this was Desmond Bane. Bane has slowly gotten better every single season. Ja's out for the first 25 games. That's already going to give him more on-ball opportunities. He's probably going to have to score more. I don't know if that hierarchy changes when Ja gets back and he just doesn't get enough shots, but he's one of the best shooters in the NBA, so even if he's a spot-up guy, he could probably get to like 25 a game pretty efficiently, and his defense is a little overrated, but he's a good defensive player, and I don't know. I just think that the Grizzlies being good and him taking a leap from like somewhat well-known player to all-star and carrying them along with JJJ and Smart while Ja's out will get him a lot of buzz in this upcoming season. I could definitely see him being on the list. So that was my other one. I had another super long shot as Patrick Williams. I just don't think he's going to get enough on-ball opportunities. They have too many guys. Like, I think that in another situation, maybe, but for where he's at now, it's just, I don't see it. So let's move on to Rookie of the Year. We're an hour in and we've only covered 2 awards.
Well, luckily this one's pretty easy, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, if Wemby doesn't win, it's because he got injured.
Yeah, essentially.
Like, I mean, I watched the preseason and everything that we tempered our expectations after Summer League, but I don't know how you don't think that he's going to be very obviously the best rookie player. And I'll go as far to say as I would be shocked if anyone but these top 3, Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson, or Chet Holmgren, if someone else wins, I'd be completely floored.
I don't think it's like possible. Like, what's the path? Like, Asar Thompson, like just hooping for the Pistons.
This is his moment.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go. While one Brandon tanks in the polls day after day, just continues to tank. The other Brandon steadily, exponentially on the rise.
Best Brandon from this class, or many are saying?
Yeah, the number 1 Brandon.
My favorite Brandon.
Wait, hold on. Are you talking about Brandon Miller or Brandon Podcast?
Miller.
Oh no!
I was talking about Brandon Podcast the whole time.
Oh no, Brandon Miller. I went to fucking play basketball, and I'm absolutely like fucking mystified. This guy's out of control. I don't understand how he gets knocked.
This is your most perverted take to take.
No. Listen. Hey, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't hold anything against the guy. He was a, you know, treasured state's witness in one of the most racist places in the entire country. You need to have guys testify if you want to convict. You know what I mean? If they really like, it wouldn't shock me. Like, I don't know.
So you're saying he's going to bring some leadership to that Charlotte locker room, and that he's going to.
How good does Brandon Miller have to be to get that moved completely out of his search engine when you search his name? It's like
25, 7 and 3.
I was going to say how Taylor Swift
40% from deep, probably.
How Taylor Swift went to the Jets game, so no, anytime you Google Taylor Swift Jets, none of her private plane stuff comes out. People have pointed out.
Yes,
it's like,
yes.
We need Brandon Miller to become one of the best shooters of all time in order for this thing to never resurface again. So I'm looking at his preseason stats right now, and it feels like, first off, they have a boomer coach in Steve Clifford.
Yep.
That is working against him for sure.
But he's a Mainer, so
he's from Maine, Steve Clifford?
Yeah. Farmington great Steve Clifford.
So Cooper Flag / Steve Clifford, the whole league's going to go crazy for Maine.
Maine is back, baby. We're back in a huge way. Steve Clifford.
When were you ever here?
No, Steve Clifford is kind of our Caitlin Clark, if you think about it. Like as far as like Iowa, he's our basketball great.
Yeah,
Cooper Flag gets here,
bringing you back. But yeah. I'm looking at Brandon Miller's. I just don't know if he's going to get enough shots. He's playing with it's LaMelo's league, as you have pointed out before.
It's LaMelo's league.
They have Terry Rozier. Scary Terry is in their starting lineup.
Okay. PJ
Washington got 18 shots in the game the other night.
PJ Washington, it's fucking tough sledding for that guy. If we're being real,
but he's going to get more shots.
Like legitimately, I think he was gonna like. I mean, if the other fucking dipshit didn't start throwing pool balls through a car windshield,
well, Miles Bridges is going to be sent to Siberia.
Yeah,
that might help Brandon Miller.
So like that
it should be,
but I don't know. It's like I think honestly, like I think the path to minutes is there, and I think the path for him to be the number 2 option scoring wise is also there because of just how much they just need talent.
I think he's going to have a Jabari Smith-like year where everyone's like, but then he'll be fine after this year. Like I think he's just going to have a rough rookie year. They do have more talent than that Houston team did last year, but I just think that he's going to be too low on the totem pole for getting shots and like on-ball opportunities. And when he does, it's not going to look pretty early in his career. And then by year 2 or 3, he's going to be fine. I've always
my problem with the Thompsons.
Well, the Thompsons are just not going to have any opportunity. Like, I don't see a world where they're one of the 2 or 3 leading shot takers on their team. Maybe Asar because the Pistons are just going to be in piss and shit.
Also, is that I've said that more better odds than Amon?
Yeah, Cam Whitmore has pretty good odds or pretty high odds. Like plus 2,500 for a guy that's probably going to be like an 8th man feels like a lot to me. Might even be deeper in their rotation. Amen has plus 3,000 on a few of these, and Amen at least has a chance to be their 6th man or 7th man. I like Cam Whitmore, and I know he's kind of showed out in preseason a little bit, but I would be surprised if Udoka is playing him big minutes this early in his career, to be completely honest with you. The 2 dark horse guys I had, Parm, I can't believe you didn't bring up this guy.
What, Micic?
The stage is yours. Wow, I didn't even think of Micic. Jesus, you're going so deep in your bag right now.
I'm Micic pilled. I just don't think I don't think they'll give it to like new metal
29-year-old.
Like it's just like they can't.
Yeah, and also the other thing with Micic is he's just really unathletic. Like, I don't think he's ever going to be starter good. I think he'll be 6-man bench guard good.
Did you watch him play the last preseason game?
No, I didn't, but I heard he had like 5 assists or something.
If anyone here hasn't seen, I would recommend watching. That's delish. That's crazy shit. Him and Chet is such a duo. That's crazy.
This is like a process fever dream.
Oh, it's gross.
Vasilij Micic finally came over and he gets to play with the other process basically. Mm-hmm. Chet Holmgren, SGA, all these guys that are just like wildly talented and young. That team's going to be so much fun to watch this year. But no, my dark horse was Keontae George.
Yeah.
Plus 5,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like those odds are pretty good for a guy that could end up being a starter. And even if Ainge blows things up, that's probably going to benefit him more because he's going to get a ton of shots. Taylor Hendricks has barely played in the preseason, and Keontae George has played a decent amount.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't blow my mind. I kind of think now this might just be because I'm extraordinarily pilled on this guy after being maybe his number 1 hater for his entire NBA career, but Jordan Clarkson should be like the most dangled trade guy at the deadline if he repeats what he did last year.
Well, no, he's best friends with the ownership. They're not going to trade him. He's boys with the owner of the Jazz. Friendship is too powerful.
No, but it's like I actually like I'll keep saying it. Like, I've never been more impressed with like a breakout than 29-year-old Jordan Clarkson finally adding like 6
man of the year
per game.
Yeah. Well, as far as Jordan Clarkson goes, I've always said I think the reason that they don't trade him is he's the only player in the history of the NBA that's like, I want to play for the Utah Jazz. Don't trade me. Mm-hmm. And he's cool too. Like, he's not like a boring, like, you know, from
it's not
like,
Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
Like,
Gordon Hayward got out of the first chance he could. Like, like it's not Joe Ingles, who's probably Joe Ingles is a good player, but like it's not incredibly exciting. I mean, I'm sure it was exciting for the fans in Utah, but
no, Jordan Clarkson's the first hooper who's ever wanted to play in Utah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
He's definitely the first vaccinated hooper who's wanted to play in Utah.
Which they hate.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, Danny Ainge is like literally like planting evidence, Game of Thrones style. But Jordan, like writing in Jordan Clarkson's handwriting. I hate the owner. I think he's poopy, and he's gonna like leave that hanging around the office. What do you want to do, boss? I guess I have to trade him.
I guess I got to take this first round pick from this contender they've offered for one Jordan Clarkson.
No.
The other guy that I had on here that is plus 10,000 and it's only available on one book. Jaime Jaquez is only available on one book, but that Miami Heat team stinks, and he's one injury away from being very important to that team. So that and he's good. Like, I mean, he's 23. Like, he's going to be plug and play. I think there's a chance that he can just come in and be a really solid player for that team. I think that there's.
How do we get narrative juice for him though? Because I've watched him play basketball, and it's like it's tough. He's like guard post up, like beefing on dudes. That's tough to like. We're not giving Talen Horton-Tucker Rookie of the Year.
But we do have Zach Lowe. Flop Era points out we'll push that. Zach Lowe will push the narrative.
The Dan Liebetard Media Mafia.
Brian Windhorst has been talking about all Jovic and Jaquez and all these guys. They're building up the trade value for these guys too, in case they have a chance to get a star at some point. Like, there's a real push for that. And I think that there's definitely a chance. I mean, it's certainly going to be. This is a long shot guy for me, but I don't know. Jaime Jaquez is good. I think that he has a chance. And also, this guy has zero chance to win, but I just want to take a victory lap on Julian Strawther being amazing in the preseason. Who could have possibly seen this coming? The man who's like one of the most elite shooters in college that can also create his own shot and is like a smart defensive player. How did this guy go? Like, he should have went way higher in the draft. And honestly, he should. I was shocked when he went in the first round because they said he was supposed to go in the second round, but he's going to rule for the Nuggets next year. I think they're going to get away with it.
Every year they fucking deny Mark Few. Every single year he proves them wrong.
He's him.
He's that guy.
Can I just say, because
few and far between. Okay, anyway, keep going.
I was just gonna say, like, we didn't really talk about it, but I do think. I mean, we made a big deal about how Wemby should probably win if he doesn't get hurt. I do think, like, in most normal years, Chet Holmgren would be a pretty
good,
appealing favorite.
Sure.
Just because he checks a lot of boxes. Draft Twitter guy that they got a lot of pushback on, and they're going to want to beat their chest about how correct they were.
Thunder or Darlings.
They don't have another center like at all, and are probably going to be like pretty good. If Chet stays healthy, I could see him pushing Wemby. Mm-hmm. Like, I bet we will get some Chet versus Wemby. I bet that's going to be what this award boils down to. Down the stretch is the Thunder in contention for like a playoff spot versus like Wemby balling out for a team that is decidedly not fighting for a playoff spot, and like which is more important. And I think it's possible Chet could Malcolm Brogdon his way to this award. Like,
well, I'll say this much: you have to prepare for the dumbest conversation we have every time a guy gets hurt and misses his rookie year.
Yeah,
Ben Simmons, Blake Griffin, every time. No, he's not a real rookie. And it's like, he didn't fucking play basketball last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now, does it help to be in an NBA facility and at the practice spots and having the training and blah, blah, blah? Sure. But also, he didn't play. He's just as much of a rookie as anyone else, even if he was drafted a year ago. So I never got that argument. I think that Chet should have just as good of a shot as any of the guys on this list. I see a lot of people saying Scoot. I had Scoot third on my list. I like Scoot a lot. It's just hard. That team's going to be, comparatively, is going to be bad. And I don't think it's hard for a rookie point guard to come in and be like LaMelo was really the only exception recently. It's just really hard to come in and be like an elite, like,
oh, I forgot about that most improved. Oh, I was thinking about that one all day. I can't believe I forgot about the DeAndre Ayton MIP narrative.
Oh my God.
The dominate an MIP.
His counting stats are going to go up.
Yeah.
But they gotta be like at least the 11 or 12 seed for him to get that buzz.
I'm so happy for
him.
And
also, he has to beat out Toumani Camara as
that's true.
No.
Tamari's taking the mantle for Jeremy when Jeremy gets traded back to the Pistons.
Gotcha. Is Toumani not a 4.5? Did I get that wrong?
Yeah, he's like a 4.5.
He's 6'8", 220. Yeah, he'll play the 4. There you go. You're right. I honestly didn't even know who Toumani Camara was until draft night, and now I'm learning in the preseason. Did he go to Princeton?
No, that's oh fuck, what's that guy's name? Oh, I'm such a bad person.
We went to Dayton.
I know that guy's name.
So he's following in Obi Toppin's large footsteps that were left behind at Dayton University, the Flyers. He played with Anthony Edwards at Georgia. Interesting. Just something to monitor. Toumani Camara. Okay, so that was that for this. Let's go.
Oh, that's Tosin Evwoman.
Okay, that's who I was thinking of.
My apologies if I botched his last name.
I was going to say that I knew that there was one guy from Princeton in this year's. Let's go Defensive Player of the Year next. Parm, I'm going to clear out here because your text that you sent me earlier today kind of blew my mind, and I need you to bring the truth to the people.
The NBA would love nothing more in the whole world than to give the Defensive Player of the Year to Vic Wembanyama. They would love actually nothing more if he put up like it, and I'm not saying this like it's like not actually incredibly impressive, but like he really just has to put up like Walker Kessler stats on defense, and people will fall over themselves to give him that award because it'll be like the first time since like what he'll be like Wes Unseld 3. Like, you know
Park texted me he's going to be Wes Unseld 2, and then he's like, well, I guess that guy's the coach of the Wizards, so he has to be Wes Unseld 3. Let's honestly, the way that Victor Wembanyama plays on defense, having watched him in the preseason, is genuinely unlike any player I have ever seen in my entire life. Now, I might be kind of like Baby with the Keychain, where it's like, oh, it's so mind blowing and so different that maybe I'm overrating what he could be as a rookie in the NBA because it's just really hard to be a really good defensive rookie. But he covers space. Like, he gets blown by under rotation and it doesn't matter at all because his closing speed to get back into the play is nothing. He can literally recover in like half a second and block a guy at the rim. He has insane length. He can get to anywhere he wants. I think that him winning Defensive Player of the Year, like he has the 6th best odds.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that crazy. Like I think that he could be a transformational defensive player. I
watched him make that steal, and I had to eat 2 Tums afterwards because it made me so fucking nauseous. With his ankle on the 3-point line and his hand fully inside like the hash mark semicircle inside the paint, like how is that even like that's literally like when you go into 2K and someone's loaded in the guy with like the spider arms that's like fucking 13 feet tall. It's literally the
he's a real life mod.
Yeah. No, he's modded. He is he's a Skyrim mod that's just been brought into the thing. So much like Jokic was when Jokic arrived. You know, like they really are like the Wario and Waluigi of the NBA come to dominate MVP discourse for years to come. So I mean, that's a great pick. I love the Victor Wembanyama pick.
Parm has seen the script.
I'm going to say one that I think I might get a little pushback on, but I actually pretty heavily believe in this, and especially at these odds. Why is Joel Embiid's odds not higher for this award?
Where's he at? Oh man, plus
2,500,
plus 2,000, plus 2,500. Yeah, those are pretty good odds.
I'm just saying, Nick Nurse, fascism ball is coming to Philadelphia. They're going to surprise in the regular season, I'm pretty sure. I think they're going to win a lot more than they used to. Nobody is going to want to give him MVP, but I think if the Sixers are good with like a Harden debacle, and they're better than expected, and I think that they're going to be probably a top 3 or top 5 defensive unit this year, which sounds crazy, but like I just watch what happens with Nick Nurse out there.
They're always top 5 whenever Joel's on the court, like defensive rating wise.
I think that is the one that I'm looking at the most. Like, I think that that's totally possible. And I think that given the odds, I think that would probably be my pick.
If you want to keep everyone happy, and Maxey and Harden both want to have a decent diet of shots, and they have a lot of defensive role players around him, Patrick Beverley, PJ Tucker, DeAnthony Melton, like, the formula is there for Joel to win. It just comes down to him playing enough games, which I think he probably will, because they want to try to play him as many games as possible, and him significantly not caring about offense as much as he has the last few years. But he won his MVP, so maybe he won't care as much. Maybe he's fine with averaging 26 a game instead of 33 a game, and saving a lot of his energy for defense and spreading around the shots and using. He's talked about the ball movement, and you're right. Like, the first thing Nick Nurse said when he came in was, we want Joel to be our defensive anchor, and we want to have one of the top defenses in the NBA. So definitely a possibility. I have a few guys written down here as I actually think are pretty much shoo-ins to win the award this year. And I just want to say, before anyone accuses me of copying what it says in the comments, you can read my dark horse here. My number one dark horse was Nick Claxton at plus 2,500. Nick Claxton's odds should be he's an all-defense talent that is going to be surrounded by a lot of... What's that?
Fading that.
Fading what?
Fading that.
Talent?
Fading that. First of all, Nets ass. Second of all, if they're good enough for him to win Defensive Player of the Year, that shit's going to Benjamin Simmons
or Mikal Bridges. He just won't ever get the credit, despite maybe being their best defensive player. That's actually probably a good point. But that's why these odds are plus 2,500, plus 1,500, plus 2,000. Like, this is a long shot. This is a dark horse. But I do think that he kind of represents everything that the NBA media loves in a player, though. He can switch on defense. He's got long arms. He can block shots. Like, I think there's a possibility he's in this conversation. They just throw him in there with the Bam Adebayos, the Jaren Jackson Jr.'s, who, by the way, I have Bam Adebayo as my number one. Because the NBA media...
They want to give it to him so bad.
Celtics Matt pointed this out in a group DM recently. They have been itching to give Bam Adebayo an award.
Yep.
And they've never been able to give him an award. And he was really good in the playoffs again last year.
Yeah.
And he is going to be, once again, the Heat always have a good defense. No matter who's out there, the Heat have a top 5, top 10 defense. And Bam is gotten better at things on the defensive end. He played more in drop coverage last year. He can switch. He's a really good player. He's a great defensive player. And I think that the media is absolutely lining up in the same way that you talked about with Cade Cunningham for Rookie of the Year. For Most Improved Player. I think that Bam Adebayo should be the favorite for this award. And he is currently in 5th place. With you can get it for like plus 1,200, plus 900 right now on certain sites. So that was an interesting one to me. And then there are other guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. won last year. I had him on here as well. But I do think that people are starting to kind of push back on Jaren Jackson Jr. because of the rebounding thing. Because he was so bad at rebounding and so was Team USA during FIBA that he's getting a lot of shit for that.
Also, he won one, didn't he?
Yeah, he won last year.
Yeah, like, did Draymond ever win back-to-back Defensive Players of the Year?
I don't think
Rudy did. Rudy did.
Yeah, Rudy did.
I saw people say Rudy in the comments. I don't think Rudy's ever winning again. I think that's over with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Bam is like, Will was saying in the comments that Bam's not a big defender. He's not a rim protector. He's a big wing defender who gets boards. I mean, that's Draymond, right? Like that's that's what Draymond was essentially. So, but we'll see.
I know that his rim protecting numbers aren't great, Bam Adebayo, but I think that he's still 26 years old. He could maybe get there as a rim protector. I don't think that he's ever going to be an elite one, but I just think he has to be a passable one. The reason why I voted for JJJ is because I felt like he did all of that. He didn't rebound quite as well as Bam, but he did everything better on the defensive end, including protecting the rim, which is why I voted for him last year.
Speaking of rim protection, though, I have a curious one for both of you.
Yeah.
So, people in my life whose opinions I really respect think I'm legitimately insane for thinking that it's a dark horse, but I don't think it's like outside the realm of a Walker Kessler all defense or defensive player of the year award nomination.
Walker Kessler?
Yeah. I think the argument against would be that because he has to he's gonna not be fishing for blocks like he's prime Hassan Whiteside anymore. But at the same time, I'm simply still reeling from the fact that he went from the SEC to the NBA and his blocks per game basically stayed the same.
Yeah,
Walker Kessler
that doesn't make any fucking sense. Amazing. And now he's going in a year 2 with the experience under his belt. I don't know. I don't know where in that regard.
I think the Jazz. I think people are gonna want to fade the Jazz. I think the Jazz would need to make the playoffs or something like that. Sure. I think there would need to be some sort of narrative thing, but I do think it is possible. It's definitely possible. Mm-hmm. By the way, when I said Draymond wasn't a good rim protector, I just want everyone on audio to know. Everyone in the comments agreed with me. They all said correct, Sam, and they all said good job, Sam.
They all said 100%.
Yeah. 100%.
You're also you're really handsome
with you, yeah.
And you're so good at Genshin Impact.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, Honkai's not real now, but
did you? Speaking of Genshin Impact, did you see the voice of the new Mario was a guy that did Genshin Impact voice characters?
Well, Genshin Impact has 80 characters because they have.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
So basically, every voice actor has been in Genshin Impact at one point. They're gonna have John Lithgow at some point. They're gonna have Willem Dafoe.
Well, I mean, it's a tough hit for that guy's career to go from random one of 80 characters in Genshin Impact to the voice of Super Mario.
Yeah,
Mario of the Mario Brothers.
Yeah, that's going from being one of the Splash Brothers to being the leader of a Washington Wizards squad. It's a serious downgrade. However,
don't sleep on Ted Leonsis' boys.
Yeah. I don't know. Defensive player of the year, I don't know. I still kind of even with his odds being low, I kind of like Joel Embiid more than a lot of these guys. The boring answer is Giannis will probably win, to be honest, if they're good.
If they have a top 5 defense again with Dame and Malik Beasley on the perimeter, I just don't see that happening. We've talked about their defensive weaknesses. We've talked about they need a perimeter stopper that isn't washed up Jay Crowder or someone. They need to either find someone, which is a possibility they could do that, or Marjon Beauchamp just needs to be the 5th starter, and he needs to be a way better defensive player in year 2.
Can I just say this actually it's coming to me now. It's coming to me. This award is going to be the ultimate litmus test. This is the Super Saiyan 5 transformation for the Boston Media Mafia to give this to Drew Holiday.
I had that. Literally BMM. I wrote BMM influence, Drew Holiday plus 2000. Marcus Smart and Robert Williams have no chance at winning this award because they don't play for the Celtics anymore.
Yeah. It would be Drew Holiday. It's just the flexing of the Boston Media Mafia to get Marcus Smart in and then turn around 2 years later and get Drew Holiday.
The second guard in 30 years. Yeah. And it's the other guy they got to replace Marcus Smart.
Yeah, no, the Boston Media Mafia is screaming like Vegeta on the power up right now. They're charging they're charging the Spirit Bomb as we speak.
They're absolutely pumped up for this. So, all right, let's move on to the next award. I almost just exited out of this. All right, do you want to do Sixth Man of the Year or Coach of the Year? We'll do Sixth Man.
Put me in for Sixth Man. I have a hot take because I just saw the fucking the goofiest comment of my fucking entire life.
Let's go.
This doesn't even have a thing for six man of the year. So I need you to cook because they don't even have. They just have a list of who's.
The answer is Marcus Smart is winning Sixth Man of the Year.
Yes, correct.
The answer is Marcus Smart's winning Sixth Man of the Year because the Grizzlies are going to become real under his leadership, and he also will not play enough games as a starter, even with a jaw suspension.
Yeah,
for him to not qualify. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's in the fucking bag for Marcus.
But is he going to come off the bench?
Yeah.
Is the question.
I would think.
You think when they're full strength, he'll just go back, he'll come off the bench?
I would think so, right?
Let me think, because they don't. The problem is they lost Dylan Brooks, who's like
Brooks, but they also have the other. They also have like they did, but didn't they do that so they?
I figured
Zaire Williams. And
he would be the
that?
perimeter. Well, Zaire Williams has apparently looked like an NBA player for the first time in his career in preseason, which is a good thing for them. But I would imagine that they're gonna. So yeah, I would
like
imagine
Santi Aldama. I know gets a lot of minutes.
Do they?
Or they want to give him minutes?
Will they just start Bane at the 3 and say, let's just go Ja Smart as the combo guard, 2 guard, Bane as a smaller 3 that can play up a little bit, but Smart also can play up. Smart's better at playing up than he is at playing down at this point.
But I will say, as someone who watched Marcus Smart for a while, 3 is the position he's worst at. 2 is
Bane
the position he's second worst at.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bane. Are you saying Bane would be the 3?
Bane will be the 3. I mean, look, the problem is Bane has incredibly small arms. Unlike Smart, who has a very big
I don't think he's going to be guarding the 3s, though. You know what I'm saying? I think Smart is going to be charged with guarding the 3s.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Ja off the bench. Let's go.
Ja's coming off the bench. Oh, my God. We're going to go. It's going to be a Bane Smart backcourt with Luke Kennard at the 3. And Ja coming off the bench for Luke.
You're forgetting about your favorite draft pick from 2 years ago.
My favorite draft pick from 2 years ago?
Your favorite guy.
For 6 man?
The big body himself.
Right.
Oh,
the big body. The big body's starting at the 3.
Well, Kenneth Lofton, 6 man of the year.
Did you see? Did you see? That's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
What, him coming in at 300 pounds and then
That's
Verno
so awesome.
And then Verno getting mad when someone tweeted about it? Did you see Verno being like, it's not a freaking report. I was just having a conversation about another man's weight. It's a normal thing. Kevin O'Connor.
I gotta say, this is where we really see Jokic's impact and what a copycat league the NBA is. Where it's just we need more thick kings out there. So, Roddy, I mean, the boring answer for this is whichever of Derek White and Drew Holiday comes off the bench is probably going to win it because of the Boston Media Mafia, right? Like, that's just probably what's going to happen. Whichever of those two guys doesn't start is.
Yeah. I had Derek White written down because I figured that Drew would be a starter, but if Drew comes off the bench, Drew will also be a favorite for this. Mm-hmm. I have I also had Emmanuel Quickly will still be coming off the bench, and he came in second last year.
Yeah, Davion Mitchell is a guy I think I would look out for. Sam's boy.
You know, Parm, you probably don't know this, but Sam.
Actually, the better one would be him, Duarte, Vizenkov, whichever one of those 3 does not get the starting nod.
Okay, apparently someone was saying in the Discord earlier that Duarte is starting over Kevin Huerter.
Yeah. Well,
what?
Well, that's a preseason thing. They're just that's a preseason thing. I think. I don't think that's actually
Monk
like real.
Would win because this is all just about getting buckets. Monk would be the guy that I would think would win for Sacramento.
I think. I think Monk started for them a little bit last year, though.
He's not going to start again. He's going to be a 6 man.
Probably not again.
No, because they have the backcourt will be Fox and Huerter probably. I would imagine. And Parm, you probably don't know this, but deep in a in plain sight draft, star in plain sight draft, Sam selected Davion Mitchell as a star hiding in plain sight. So
it's coming.
You guys are both so sick.
Listen, I can't stand for the ethics of Baylor University, but I will stand by their fucking basketball program. They just produce the grittiest dudes.
Wait, you're telling me that you don't support murder when a player murders another player? I guess a lot of people are too young to remember this, but I remember like 20 years ago, a player on the Baylor team just murdered another player on the team. No one ever talks about it when they talk about like these college scandals.
Wait, what?
I'm telling you, Google Baylor murder basketball player.
I'm
it
learning
was
so
2003,
much
maybe?
The murder of Patrick Dennehy.
There you go.
In 2003 when he was shot by a Baylor teammate. Jesus.
Yep. But yeah, they got the death penalty, as Brandon points out in the comments. So that was a lot of fun. All right, let's move on to that was Sixth Man of the Year. I don't really have much to say about that. I think that one of the Boston guys ends up winning though for the second straight year. The media mafia gets their way. They've one of the best. They will be one of the best bench players in the NBA because they're starters on any other team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was just trying to like think of like other candidates. Yeah, I mean, I think
Kelly Oubre,
Swaggy Kelly,
Patrick Beverly,
Kelly. Yeah, I mean, I don't. The problem is like it should be like a guy like.
It's always bucket getters.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's always gonna be like bucket getters though. So like I just don't know, and it's gonna be like a bucket getter on a good team. And the weird thing is there's
Nas Reed's a good one by Flop Era.
Cam Thomas.
Oh, Cam Thomas.
Cam Thomas has Alonzo Trier Sixth Man of the Year.
His
with 1.2 assists per game.
That's a lot. That would be a career high for Kelly Oubre, 1.2 assists a game. The thing about Cam Thomas is that can you win Most Improved and Sixth Man at the same time, or will they allow that? Can he take over 2 awards?
I don't.
After Jacques Vaughn spent his entire last year maligning him at every opportunity.
Yeah,
the Hooper community, Hooper community demands multiple awards
to make it up for being benched. He was
making up for
anytime he started
a 30-point game.
Yeah, he scored 40 points in multiple games.
How about Kyle Anderson staying on the same team? Let's get slow-mo.
I think Nas Reed is more likely. First off, love Kyle Anderson. Shake Milton, also a bucket getter coming off the bench for the Minnesota Timberwolves now. But the reason why I think Nas Reed is more likely to get the counting stats from a points per game standpoint in order to be involved. He'll get it. That will be the Montrezl Harrell equivalent. Like he's the new Montrezl Harrell just dropped. Yeah,
I think it's the other way around because Kyle kind of. At least last year, it was like if he's feeling spicy, like he's liable to give you a triple-double.
It's so
not a pretty triple-double. It's 12, 10, and 10, but it's a triple-double.
But that's the thing is that it never goes like the bucket getters are always the ones that get it. Kyle Anderson in 28 minutes last year, Kyle Anderson averaged 9.4 points a game, almost 5 assists a game too, by the way. But look at look at Nas Reed's stats. Nas Reed in only 18 minutes a game last year averaged 11.5 points per game. And if they do trade Cat at some point, which by the way, nothing confirmed on this, but there's more buzz about trading Cat again. If they trade him at some point, Nas could get 25 minutes a game, and then he's averaging 17 a game or whatever, 16 a game. Like he's definitely in the conversation. Like I said, the Montrezl Harrell, big who gets buckets off the bench, honorary Sixth Man award.
Let me cook here.
All right, clear out.
Jaden Hardy, Sixth Man of the Year for the Dallas Mavericks.
I love it. Jaden Ivey also going to be a candidate because he's probably going to be coming off the bench. But Jaden Hardy, I love that one. I don't think he's going to get kids' trust, but I love the choice.
I just say Hooper team is dog shit, but could be like just hooping on a level when Kyrie decides that the new boosters are doing something and he's holding out again. Like they're gonna need Jaden Hardy's buckets. I'm just saying it's gonna be something. So
I'm sharing this stat that was sent into the chat. Most points per game as a starter this season, minimum 4 games. Number 1, Cam Thomas, 39 points a game. Number 2, Joel Embiid, 33 points a game. Number 3, Luka Doncic, 32.4 points per game. If Cam Thomas gets a chance, give him a chance, Jacques Vaughn, to be the 6th man. Let him cook. This man could average 25 points and 1.4 assists, like Parm said, off the bench. With like 4 turnovers a game, but he's probably the most fun player to watch in the NBA.
The Cam Thomas, Ben Simmons bench lineups are going to be a movie. I'm just saying.
The perfect complements for each other.
They really are.
One can't do anything else but score. The other one can do everything.
Terrified of it. Yeah.
Oh. And where did they both go to college?
LSU.
Stay woke.
So they both were getting $25,000 in unmarked bills in a Big Mac box from Wade.
They were being paid for their labor. We support it.
That's the only good thing about LSU is how much they pay their guys. Fair compensation.
All right. So last 2 things before we get out of here. I don't think there are any odds for Coach of the Year, so we could just riff on this one.
Okay.
I have a pick for Coach of the Year that I feel pretty strongly about. I'm going to make my case here.
I don't get to victory lap for correctly calling Coach of the Year last year.
You called Mike Brown?
I did call Mike Brown.
I think you were, yeah.
Just a quick victory lap on that. Just quick victory lap. So
all knowledge off the charts. Congrats. Pat on the back.
Yeah, I got a lot of pushback in the episode, which I remember in the comments. The comments were very rude to me. They were very rude to me.
They were very rude.
They said I was a madman. Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
So there are a few guys that might narratively have a better case over this guy, but beloved coach in the media. This award usually goes to teams that are, I wouldn't say sneaky out of nowhere good, but they kind of they lean towards that direction of, hey, this team wasn't very good last year and now they're good. I think Rick Carlisle and the Indiana Pacers have a total chance to be a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference. And they're a young, scrappy team, and Carlisle's a legend, and he's won a title. I think that is the guy who's going to end up coming out on top here. But I do have a list of some other candidates that might fit more of the narrative. There's one guy especially that I don't know if they'll allow him to win it because of other things. But let's just say Sam could probably guess who I'm talking about. Other things.
Our friend in Houston, Ime Udoka. Yeah.
I was going to say, I
don't think they will.
Reel in the Hooper anarchy and make a real basketball team, but I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think
you were going to say Steve Clifford. I was gonna turn my camera off after Steve Clifford Coach of the Year.
Steve Clifford is like, you think about the greatest basketball minds of all time. Mm-hmm. Cliff's got to be up there, right? All right, Sam, do you have anyone that you want to throw out here? Because I have a list of guys that I think have a chance, but Carlisle's my pick.
Carlisle's a great pick. I would say Mark Dagnall.
That's another one I had on my list.
That would be my pick.
Everyone will finally learn his name, Mark Dagnall.
Mm-hmm. Mark Dagnall would probably be. I think he's a pick. I think if the Heat are like 4th or higher, I think Spo is a.
How did I not even think? Because he's never won one.
He's never won one, and I feel like they got to give it. He's been the best, and in Spo's defense, he's been like the best coach in the NBA for like 10 years now.
Yeah.
Like they probably should get him one at some point. So they're probably going to be on the lookout for that. But I think that the Heat are going to need to have home court for round 1 for that to happen, though. So, and I don't know if they've got that in them this year, but we'll see. So those are the 2 I was thinking of just off the top of my head, but I did give your Rick Carlisle pick some run as well.
Parm, any thoughts?
My scorcher, it's Jamal Mosley.
I had him 4th on my list.
Just because, again, going back, like I fucking despise that, but they work so hard, and I don't think they're good at basketball, and they try so much.
If they make the play-in and they're like 7 seed, and they're still really young, and they compete night to night, and all the stuff that you're talking about. Jamal Mosley will definitely get some buzz for sure. And then the other guys I had on here, my real dark horse is a Greg Popovich Lifetime Achievement Award if Wemby comes out and they're just incredible, and they're way better than we ever expected.
We'll hand it to Wembanyama at the ceremony too, and make like a big show of it.
Yeah,
like he's the world's most generous man.
79-year-old Greg Popovich. Like, how old is Pop now? He's got to be like almost 80, right?
In his 70s. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's see. I'm curious. Greg
74.
Pop, 74 years old, just like our president.
Really?
A Lifetime Achievement Award, like Joe Biden's last election. So I had him on here. I think the Celtics are going to be too good for Joe Maz to get real buzz. Like they'd have to win what 65 games for Joe Maz to get consideration, Sam?
Well, but also like people in the media, I think he's got like the media likes him because he's a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Like they do.
I thought you were going to say he has charisma. I was like, I feel like he doesn't have charisma at all, and I feel like he's being It almost feels like watching Joe Maz in interviews and in press conferences is almost like we just picked a random guy to coach this team, and like it's a multiple year long project episode of Nathan for you, like that we're just not in on, like the rehearsal. But we just picked a random guy to coach a basketball team. Like that's what I feel like when I watch Joe Mazzulla.
Did you listen to his Old Man in the Three interview?
Yeah, I listened to some of it. I heard clips. Yeah.
It was very funny that they started it, and like JJ Redick was like, so thank you for letting me sit in with your jiu-jitsu instructor, which is what he was doing beforehand. This man just loves doing combat sports. But he's a weirdo, and the fact that like it would be like, oh, like everyone was so unfair to him when he was in an impossible situation last year. Like, like I could see some of that again, but yeah, you're right. They would probably need to win like 60 plus games. Like, yeah, exactly. What other coach is saying that talking about his meeting with girls with terminal cancer
right before a big game?
Yeah. Like nobody else has that.
Completely out of his element, and he's just absolutely
raw. That raw charisma, that riz. That is the Joe Maz way. So I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's very likely. Same reason. Even if the Bucks kill it, I don't think.
Adrian Griffin. He is a first-year coach, though. A lot of first-year coaches get this award, just generally speaking.
Yeah. If Detroit made the playoffs,
oh my God!
I mean, yeah, but
yeah.
If Detroit makes the playoffs, Monty Williams is the greatest coach to ever live,
the GOAT of all time.
But the East is so bad, though.
It's like, not that. It's not Pistons make the playoffs bad, though.
But this is the thing. In order to
All-Star Thompson's winning Rookie of the Year.
The Pistons do have talent. It's just you need to like lock Troy Weaver in a closet. Like the Chokey in fucking Matilda, and just like let everyone else like fucking cook and let them play a normal lineup without 12 bigs. Like I could see Detroit has the talent to like make the play in.
If you dropped this team in the playoffs, if you dropped this team in the NBA 8 years ago, sure, the league is just way too talented now for a team like Detroit to have any shot at the playoffs.
What are your thoughts on Chris Finch?
Ooh, that's a
good one. I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
because I think they could also like.
I have them as a top 3 seed.
Yeah, I admit it. I have the Wolves as a potential top 3.
Yeah,
them and my Sacramento Kings. They're coming back for more.
Okay,
they're hungry.
I love this. This is so funny because I love the Kings, however, didn't have the courage to stick to my convictions. And then Trill, after we both got owned by the Wolves last year, is back on his Lucy football shit. And
I'm back on my Lucy football shit, dude.
He also said the Wolves
they're staying healthy. They got depth. I honestly should have included Jaden McDaniels in my most improved player list, but I don't think he'll get enough points. But no, I look. They got my guy Shake Milton. Like I love the Wolves. I'm way too Wolves pilled. Yeah, exactly. Let's go.
Yeah.
He's finally in a real situation with an elite big. He's never played with an elite big before. and a star guard, Anthony Edwards. He's got everything going for him. Just a few other guys I wanted to throw out there. I had him on my dark horse, but I wouldn't be shocked. Sam is going to be over the moon about this one. Quinn Snyder, first full year coaching the Hawks.
Let's go. Now you're talking.
The ultimate 82-game coach. The ultimate kind of falls apart in the playoffs, but can get... The Jazz were the 1 seed a year.
Are you not worried, though, that they stink?
Oh, I'm not. I have them as a play-in team. I have them losing in the play-in.
Because, like,
I also am saying...
I love Trey. I think all the Trey deniers are, like...
It's crazy.
Are out of their minds, but, like, that team is duty.
I'm not a big fan, but I will say this much. Before I let you cook on your favorite team in the NBA, Jalen Johnson has looked really fucking good in preseason. And I don't know if he fits exactly because like they have DeJounte Murray and Clint Capella in the starting lineup, but he has been way, way better than I expected as he's grown into more of a kind of an on-ball role, I guess. They like had him running offense and Trey was running off the ball. They were doing things I've never seen the Hawks do. So there's at least some intrigue there for me.
So let's go back to Quinn Snyder's time with the Utah Jazz, okay? What was Quinn Snyder good at? He was more prepared. Some might say he was able to just summon time out of nowhere.
God damn it.
He was able to stay up all night, some might say, for game planning.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying Quinn Snyder used to live in Utah, which is in the middle of the desert and far away from South America.
There is snow there on the mountains.
There's snow there, but he's far away from South America. However, in Atlanta, you're much closer to Miami and Florida and an ocean front where anything could come in from South America and you could have easy access to it. I'm just saying that Quinn Snyder could be the most prepared coach in the NBA come next year.
Yeah. It's, I mean, look, I'm excited to see what Quinn Snyder could cook up for this team after long nights in the lab.
He'll be cooking all right. He'll be cooking.
I don't know why my first thought was AJ Griffin tattling on him like Madison Cawthorn.
Finals MVP. Parm, we'll let you cook on that for a second. I already picked my finals matchup in the Patreon episode last week. If you didn't listen to that and you want to listen to it still, you can sign up for the Patreon. Spoilers.
Oh, it is Brandon Knight.
Brandon Knight. There we go.
Yeah.
Wait, the Scarlet Knights? Brandon Scarlet Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Symmetry. I love it. So I already, spoilers once again, if you want to listen to the last episode, go listen to that. I picked the Bucks and the Nuggets to make it to the NBA Finals this year. I'm really going against the grain with that pick.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, who do you think has the best chance to win? Give me your 2 or 3 guys best chance at winning Finals MVP next year.
Jason Tatum, Nikola Jokic, Kristaps Porzingis.
I knew you were going to say Porzingis.
Let's go.
Sam picked the Celtics and Nuggets if you didn't listen to that episode. Parm, who are your choices for Finals MVP? Just you can go off the top of the dome if you need to.
James Harden.
Let's go.
James Harden.
Redemption year?
As a Sixer. Daryl Morey was put into the stockades outside of Wells Fargo Center for the duration of the series, and everyone just pelts rotten tomatoes and cucumbers at him.
I love this idea.
His agent was right. His agent said he's going to have an MVP
just like
season.
every like on the way into the tunnel, like you just see Kelly Oubre throw like a wet cabbage at him on his way out of the tunnel.
Oh, that's incredible, Barb. But I don't know if you guys saw this, speaking of James Harden, but there was a report. I can't remember which reporter said it, but they were like, I talked to James Harden's agent and he said that he's going to have an MVP like season. And I'm like, oh, a completely unbiased source said that? The guy who is paid money to hype up him? Yeah, he's going to win MVP at age 34 after having a season where he didn't even make the All-Star team last year. Thank you for that insight, James Harden's agent. He's doing a good job, in my opinion. But here are my choices for Finals MVP before we get out of here. Number 1, Giannis. Number 2, Jokic. Number 3, on the off chance that it is not that matchup,
Bobby Portis.
Devin Booker.
Oh.
Number 4, Jason Tatum. And then my dark horse picks are Damian Lillard if he just absolutely goes off in the finals.
Okay.
Or Jamal Murray.
I didn't realize we could do outside of our matchup. My 3 pick would be Steph Curry in that case.
Well, I did outside of my matchup because there is a chance that I'm wrong and that it's not the Bucks and Nuggets. And if that is the case, I would pick the Suns, Celtics, Warriors. Yeah, one of those teams.
Yeah, so we agree that there's no chance it's not Celtics Nuggets. I agree. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm correcting mine then. My 4th is De'Aaron Fox.
Let's go.
Vezenkov.
Oh, love it. I mean, from EuroLeague MVP to Finals MVP, the Sasha story.
Yeah, I love it.
One magical night in Bulgaria.
All right.
One magic moment.
Parm, thank you for joining us. Subscribe to the You Know Ball Patreon if you have not already. There are no more preview episodes. If you want access to the Patreon episodes, you have to sign up for the You Know Ball Patreon. We'll be back later this week with that episode. Go Phils.